Dear members, very good evening. On behalf of the committee for members in practice, I extend a very warm welcome to all of you on this special occasion of Good Friday. It's wonderful to see you all and taking out time, especially on a holiday from your busy schedule, and in this very important seminar for today, which is organized by the committee. And I take this opportunity to express my gratitude to our chairman, CA Dr. Rohit Ruvatia ji, our vice chairman, CA Umesh Sharma ji, for their invaluable guidance and the driving force behind the committee's effort to empower the practicing members of ICI. We are truly fortunate to have you, sir. Today, webinar focuses on a very crucial topic. It is bank branch audit. And as you may be aware that we have also given a software which is a practicing management software which is freely available to all our membership. So we will be also covering up the documentation as to how the documentation can be covered by using this software. So for today, we are having two very important keynote speakers with us. We have CA Sandeep Wellingji and we have CA Giriraj Soniji, who will be bringing up their wealth of experience, shedding light on planning and regulatory concerns which are related with bank branch audit and all the concerns related with the CBS environment, and also covering up the major financial commands. So thank you very much, sir, for being in today's session. With these words, may I now request our chairman, CA Dr. Rohit Ruvatia ji, to please, sir, give us your welcome note. And we would also request you to please share us your thoughts about the recent initiatives which the committee has taken, and including Practice Ki Pathshala, for which the new first batch we will be launching in the month of May. Over to you, sir.
Yes, so thank you, Alok ji. Very respected our Vice Chairman of the committee, Umesh Sharma ji. Today's keynote speaker, Sandeep Pelling ji and Giriraj Soni ji. And Parvez Surani ji will be taking on the practice management software. Priyanshu ji and the tech team. And my dear professional colleagues, a very good afternoon to one and all, and a very happy Good Friday to everyone present over here. It's indeed a great pleasure for us to be here today and discussing on the very key important topic related to the bank audit. And of course, after 2-3 days, maybe we will be starting our bank audit, and most of the members have received their branches and they might have planned and they have scheduled their way how to go ahead and how to conduct the bank audit. Friends, nowadays the bank audit has become very important aspect, and I would like to share some important initiatives related to the bank audit which the institute has pushed upon with the help of AASB and ASB and with the top leadership, that we have approached to Reserve Bank of India and we had done the meeting with the central statutory auditors, and we requested and we explained that why the limit of advances should not go below 70%, and which was well taken and considered by both the Reserve Bank of India and by the bank management and the directors of the banks, independent directors of the bank, so that it should not go below 70%. And we said clearly that if it go below 70%, then our central auditors will be forced to qualify certain aspects because it will not cover the overall banking structure. So it will be very difficult for us to maintain. And since the central auditor rely upon the work done by the branch auditors, so we are happy and we are sure that we are able to maintain the limit. And this time more than 5,000 appointments in bank branch audit has been done, and we believe that every year approximately 5,000 bank branch auditors will be appointed, and this process should continue. But at the same time, to be very honest, when we go at Reserve Bank of India and when we meet many of the management banking top leaders, they present certain reports of our professionals only, which cannot be expressed that this kind of work is done by our professionals. My sincere request that we have to be very serious now. Audit is just not a profession, but it has become a serious profession in terms of whatever quality services we are providing. And mind it, we are certifying it, we are giving our signature, and we should understand the value of our signature. Recently, we have introduced the capturing of MOC on the UDN portal, which was well raised by us that there should be capturing of MOCs on the UDN whenever you are generating the UDN, so that whatever work and whatever the quality you people have worked during the bank audit is reflected and is captured, and maybe in times to come, maybe presented to the Reserve Bank of India and the bank management, so that we can reflect the work done by the chartered accountants in the statutory branch audit. Today's session is really very important for us, and we have tried that what kind of skill is required in conducting the bank branch audit. So today's speaker will deliver on all these things and how to do the audit through the CBS environment. Both of the speakers are really wonderful, and I request everybody to please be there for another 2 hours to understand and to work there. So coming to the committee for members in practice, first of all, I'm thankful to the team members, to the leadership that they have given me an opportunity to serve this very important committee as a chairman of this committee, and we are planning a lot of activities in time to come. To begin with, we'll be doing the networking summit, the state level networking summit, which is the brainchild of our honorable Vice Chairman Umesh Sharma ji, who is always taking lead in doing the networking summit, which aims to develop a network amongst the various states, various interstates, to make the firms big, to grow, and to understand that where they are and where we want to go. So one of the session I was attending of Umesh ji, and where he explained that only 3% of the total revenue of a CA firms come from audit services. So 96% of the revenue of a CA firm in totality comes from non-audit services. That was really an eye-opening for us, and a lot of new things was shared by him with the other speakers, which are really helpful for us to come out of the non-conventional practice. So these networking summits are going to be very important for us. Then coming to us, we are going to organize a residential program for the chartered accountants holding certificate of practice, in which we'll be doing a 3 day residential program in our Center of Excellences, which will not only aim for the skill development, but only focus on non-academic part, the technical part, the ethics part, technology, artificial intelligence, drafting, chat GPT, and other networking, growth strategies, how we can grow at success stories. That will be a really great event in which our members across the country will participate, and a batch size of 40 will be introduced, and probably we'll be doing 2 times in a month in times to come. And in the month of May, we are going to launch it. Then we'll be doing practice ki Udan, in which we'll be inviting the newly qualified chartered accountant in last 5 years who are holding certificate practice to guide them how to go ahead, because now they are on the crossroad path. So they may be they have understood that they have to go ahead in the practice, but still they need some hand holding from the institute. So we have planned practice ki Udan in that direction. Certain new initiatives, the CMP benefits we are sharing on the Twitter account, which is there. And I request everybody to follow the Twitter account of the CMP committee, which is CMP ICAI, in which we are regularly updating about the realistic benefits and tie-ups done with the various authorities, various corporates, various companies, which are beneficial for our professionals. So almost most of the things I have tried to cover, but a lot of new initiatives we will be taking in times to come. Still, any member feel any kind of suggestion, they can always feel free to write to the committee. They can connect me. They can WhatsApp me. I'm always available. Me and my vice chairman, we are togetherly working, and our team is very dedicated. Alok ji is always available. Priyanshu is always there. So we'll keep on working, and this is our fifth program, fifth webinar continuously every Friday we are doing, and we believe that every Friday for next 52 weeks we'll be doing to upgrade and to upskill ourselves. So with this, I conclude. Thank you very much for your patience hearing. Over to you, Alok ji. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for apprising us about the representation given by ICI at RBI. I think this is very important uh, updation which all the members should be aware of. And I would also like to thank both of the chairman and vice chairman, because while devising all these initiatives, there is a lot of brainstorming which we are putting into as to how we can help our members to actually grow their practice. Because at the institute level, we are always hearing about the concerns that networking guidelines and all the good initiatives have been taken by the ICI, but the actual benefit, how the members can reap out those benefit is actually now where we are going ahead with. And we are thankful for to our vice chairman for giving us this master blaster format of networking summit. So, sir, based on the inputs which we have received from you, and that for that survey, which we are in fact pitching up to all our members. And today also, those links will be there. Priyanshu ji, please take care that those links are active. And I would request all our participants to give us their inputs in the areas we have bifurcated various areas that you will find out in those survey forms. And these inputs are very much important because based on this, it will help us in getting the direction as to where we need to proceed. So, Vice Chairman, sir, thank you so much for curating all these and for providing us all the guidance. Over to you, sir, for today's very important topic. And we would like to hear from you. Please set the tone for today's topic. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. First of all, good Friday to all. Thanks to Chairman Rohit Ruhatia ji, myself, CA Umesh Sharma, and we both make Rohit Sharma team. So let's enjoy the benefit of both in CMP committee. And thanks to Alok ji, Parvez ji, Priyanshu, and our today's speaker Sandeep ji and Giriraj ji. Friends, today's discussion is at most important because when we see a financial year of a chartered accountant, so the first and foremost assignment starts from bank audits. And then in the mid of the year comes the company audits and tax audits. And at the end of the year comes the annual returns of the GST. So this is the cycle. Though GST audit is not there, but it's a GST annual return activity which we do. So many times, otherwise, in a friendly way, we tell that a bank audit is like a breakfast, company audit, tax audit is like a lunch, and GST annual return is like a dinner for a chartered accountant. So you must have a good breakfast, and it is said that having a good breakfast is must for a healthy life. So when you are doing a bank audit, you must have a very good documentation of that. Why I am telling this? Because RBI and all other regulatory bodies are in a way behind the bank audit, that what type of reports we are giving, and if any matters comes out, what was the comment of an auditor. And to prove that, a auditor must have audit documentation. And friends, grow your practice series, which is this series is of a very important topic for today, that is the audit documentation. And for that doing documentation, we have a practice management software developed by ICI. And friends, in that practice management software, you can put all your documentation, you can upload them. There are links available for the ICI resources from where you can download the checklist of bank audit also. So Parveji will be showing you a practical demo of this practice management software. And then today we have a very eminent speaker, Sandeep ji and Giriraj ji, which will help us to make our audit documentation more strengthened, more specific and focused. And now in practice, day to day, things are coming in a way that we have to be prepared for the future. And for that, we have lot of activities in CMP, as rightly pointed out by Chairman Sir and Alok ji. I will not repeat them, but I will always urge you that whatever new areas you find in practice, please let us know. We will have seminars on that. We are going to bring a book on professional opportunities for chartered accountants soon. And that book will be one of the landmark publication from CMP committee, and surveys which are already there. Then we are also bringing up with the new technological initiatives which are already discussed. So with this, I request our team Priyanshu to take forward, and let's all get benefited from the knowledge sharing exercise by our esteemed speakers. Over to you, Alokji.
Thank you so much, sir. And this is, in fact, always so much uh, insightful whenever you are addressing this audience. And this practice, this grow your practice series, in fact we are getting overwhelming response and lot of feedback, sir. And in fact we will share with you the kind of suggestions which we are getting. And in fact I would request all the practitioners to please do write to us. In fact, if you are looking forward to any particular area, then definitely we would love to have the session organized around that area. So as of now, sir, 11:55 members are there who are right now live with us, and we will be having the queries, the technical queries as well. So the window is also open there. Now, without wasting up the time, I would like to come to the real business of today, and we are having two very good eminent speakers with us. So I would like to introduce our first speaker of the day, CS Sandeep Welling, sir. He is a seasoned professional with nearly over 3 decades of diverse experience. He is right now managing partner at a leading chartered accountancy firm, and he oversees BFSI services and Mumbai operations. So he is having an expertise spans in banks, insurance, NBFCs, mutual funds, exchange. He is also appointed by a regulator for investigations, including RBI, and he has contributed to various ICI committees and boards. And also he worked in the auditing standards area. His commitment to ethical practice has made his firm the preferred choice of a BFSI client. He's also recognized internationally for his expertise and speaking at professional forums worldwide. So, on behalf of Committee for Members in Practice, we welcome you. I would also like to welcome our second speaker of the day, CA Giriraj Soniji, who is a FCA, DISA, and a CISA qualified, seasoned chartered accountant with over 22 years of experience. And his expertise includes concurrent and statutory bank audit, information system audits for banks and stockbrokers, internal audit and management consultancy on controlling review and IT operations. He is a renowned speaker at various ICI forums. He is also the faculty member of our certificate course on concurrent audit of banks and a contributor to ICI publications. With past involvement in the IT committee and leadership roles at Bombay Chartered Accountants Society, he is dedicated to professional development in the field. So, thank you so much, sir, for being with us today. Now, I would request Sandeep, sir, to please start with the session on this very important topic today. Over to you, sir.
Sandeep, you are
Yeah,
mute.
yeah. Thank you, Alok ji. Thank you, Umesh ji. And thank you, Rohit ji, for a very good start. So, the responsibility given to me is to speak on the planning and the regulatory concerns in relation to bank audits. So, let me start. Given the time constraint, I will ensure that I touch upon every point. Okay. However, in case any elaboration, any specific, you can always write to institute, and we can always come back to you. Okay. Thank you. Just a minute. Yeah. So basically, audit today, I must say, is more of a process. All of us as chartered accountants, I have seen um, every time there is some news on some issue in relation to any audit, the general remarks that people pass, "Arey, what chartered accountant has been doing." So, this is, and I keep wondering why these comments keep on coming always, because As a chartered accountant, all of us are very studious and we are very subject oriented guys. We have been always focusing on the subject matter and we keep on deliberating, discussing the subject matter. But what I realized is one of the important aspect which is getting missed, and that is we don't understand that when it comes to audit, subject matter though is a prerequisite, the process and observing the process is more crucial. And if we don't follow that process, somewhere we are unable to prove that we have done a diligent job. And therefore, this aspect. So it doesn't speak for that particular chartered accountant. When such comment comes up, it speaks for our profession. And therefore, all of us together should rise to this occasion and ensure that we follow these processes meticulously so that we are in the eyes of general public who don't understand what audit really means would also know that we are doing a proper job, and that will be done only if we are good at our processes, besides being the eligibility criteria of good on your subject. So I keep on giving one narrative. Imagine you and your brother go to a hospital. When you go to him, he's although he understands your problem, he will not immediately give you the treatment. He will first ask you for pathological reports. So that means he will first actually do some study on you. He will come up with proper reports, understanding his client. After understanding his client, he will study. After studying, he will look at various aspects which may give rise to risk to him, risk to the patient. He will try to cover those aspects. He will try and ensure that he, he first takes care of those risks. After he does that, he will choose his team as to, oh, this particular problem, what type of assistance he will require, what kind of doctors he will require along. After he chooses his team, he will place them who will do what at what point of time. After all this, not only done, but documented at each level, finally, he will start his treatment or operation. Finally, we are also professionals, friends, and we should ensure that this process is also mandated by institute for all of us. And it is this process that is being many times we miss, and therefore we fall flat when questions arise and when it comes to proving what we have done. So let me just take a quick look at some of these aspects. So what are the regulatory concerns? Regulator ensure wants. So regulator is RBI, regulator is ICAI, and of course, if you are doing a bank as a whole, SEBI also sometimes comes into picture. So there are various regulators now. NAFRA is also there. So there are so many various regulators we are responsible towards, and we have to ensure. So auditors, regulators today expect us to be part of their governance chain. The kind of questions they ask when we meet them as a central statutory auditor, they, the regulator Reserve Bank of India, keeps a meeting every quarter with them, and they keep on asking various questions. And I can see their overall conduct is they expect chartered accountants to be part of the governance chain. Recently, they also asked us, as a central statutory auditor of one of the bank, they asked us to collate the data of samples selected by various auditors and provide to them. They wanted to know, we as a community, chartered accountant community or auditor community, what kind of samples we have chosen for the purpose of that audit. So they want us to be part of the governance chain. There are very specific, even institute is specific. Don't take up a job if you are not capable. So have proper experiences and members with you and the audit process. So audit process, planning, execution, and conclusion. Uh, I will be deliberating more on the planning in this in this particular topic. So audit planning. Let me tell you, institute has come up. Institute has really done a fabulous job for all of us, and they have come up with a application called Audit Working Paper Templates. In fact, they have now come up with the software also, which they will be giving us a presentation a year after. Now, they, each at each level, institute has given us the proper templates of various documentation that are needed for the purpose of conducting audit. All we need to do is
Sir, I think there is some connection issue at your end. Tech support, can you please confirm? Well, in the meanwhile, we are getting Sandeep ji back. Uh, may I request Giriraj ji to please add on his.
I've done that, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. So these are certain mandatory documents that each one of us must have before we start our audit. So independence confirmation, engagement letter, team mobilization. It is necessary that we actually document the team members which will be uh, actually going to the audit. Now, as far as branch audit is concerned, I have seen, there are two, three broad aspects that need to be taken care of. And I would like to have a little pause here to say that LFAR is something finally that the regulator will look at, because our essay, our audit report under 700 is a standard one. So it is the LFAR that actually talks a lot about how your sampling has been done, all of that. My suggestion to all of you would be, your team members should be segregated in a way where you start LFAR right from the first day and don't keep it in the last. Because generally, if you keep it in the last, there is a possibility that you will miss on certain points or you will try to hurry up on certain issues. And that's the only thing which is seen by the regulator. So please ensure that your team members are segregated in a way that LFAR team members are there right in the beginning. And then you have a separate team who is looking after the advances, and another team member who will look after all other aspects. So this broad bifurcation is necessary, in my opinion, as far as the audit team is concerned. Note on understanding your client. In this case, if it is a branch, it is necessary that you understand your branch as to what kind of advances they have, what kind of a risk they have, what kind of frauds that have been reported by the branch. Is there any internal audit report? Is the concurrent audit reports? There are so many much of information available. It is necessary that we scan through all of that Not only scan through, but document that. Everything that I'm talking about uh, today will also have to be documented. It's not enough that you understand and you know your branch. If somebody independently looks at your file, it should be visible that you have done this job and you have done this job visibly, diligently. So don't just rely on doing the job. You must ensure that you have actually documented that particular aspect. Next, depending on your branch, you need to fix your materiality and the performance materiality. So generally, you will ensure that say 70-80% of the advances are covered. So that is one aspect. But broadly speaking, whatever could be the profitability of that particular branch, broadly, there is a consensus that 5% of the profit that particular branch shows off can be your overall materiality, and depending on uh, your risk element, performance materiality can be 50 to 75% of that amount. So performance materiality is the one where if any any mistake or any changes that you need have to be done, if or all the small observations put together, if they hit the performance materiality level, those performance, all those MOCs will have to be passed. So from keep it in that view. Below that, you may keep a record that this is what we have checked, but with it being below performance materiality, we have not passed the entry, which is fine with you. But it is necessary that you document those. I spoke about the fraud risk. After you have assessed, it is necessary that you document what is your response, how have you strategized, how have you, what documents you have relied upon to actually conduct your audit. Keep minutes of this kickoff meeting and communication of the audit schedule. These are few things of many aspects that institute expect a auditor to maintain at this stage. As regards the execution is concerned, the audit evidence and all other aspects are also there, which broadly we have been maintaining, and therefore I did not take it up at this juncture given the limited time. This planning and initial aspects have generally not been evident on our files. Please see to it that they are there hereafter. Let me now come to concerns raised by Reserve Bank of India with regard to audit of a branch. So, when Reserve Bank of India once during their presentation, they said that expectations from the statutory auditors is to display a greater degree of skepticism and independence. This particular sentence invited lot of deliberation in that seminar. The reason being, as auditors, we always exercise our skepticism, and there is no such concept given by our regulator, that is Institute of Chartered Accountants, of extra degree of or a greater degree of skepticism. So what is that all about? So during the discussion, it emerged that there are lot of things, and I will be covering some of those aspects in my presentation in subsequent slides. There are a lot of things that we write as observations, and many times they are part of our LFAR. They we consider them to be administrative lapses. For example, stock statements not submitted. For example, documents signed but left blank. So we consider them to be administrative lapses. However, Reserve Bank of India says, please eliminate the angle that there is no fraud involved in it before you conclude that it's a mere administrative error. So they are trying to get to a little one step extra, because the reason I will tell you later in my subsequent slides. System based classification is almost there now, and all the banks are fully equipped with regard to system based asset classification. However, we will keep finding errors, and we will keep finding certain glitches in the system. Don't blindly rely on the output given to you. You will have to actually undertake some kind of a test check to see whether the overdue data or whatever, like in certain cases I have seen overdues number of days 240, but it's a standard account. When you actually go, it is actually a standard account, but the statement shows it's overdue by 240, or vice versa. It doesn't show, but it is actually a NPA. So in few cases, very few cases, you will find such errors, and therefore it is necessary that we test check some of these large accounts to ensure that those data is not completely, you know, contrary to our expectations. Certification and reporting of fraud. All of us know that Reserve Bank of India expects us to report if we detect any fraud. They expect us to report directly. So those circulars are there above 1 lakh, about 1 crore, etc., etc. Especially any single fraud above 1 crore. Now NAFRA also expects that we report to them directly. So this is one aspect that we need to understand uh, and have very much in mind when we actually move forward. Now look at this. Reserve Bank of India is saying non-compliance to SA 505, external confirmation in respect of not receiving confirmation. Now, I am not sure how many of us have been working towards obtaining external confirmation wherever possible. Now, in certain cases, it is necessary. So, some of the critical amounts, some of the large amount, material amounts, it is necessary that we actually obtain the external confirmations. And this is something which Reserve Bank of India has expressed during their seminar. Non-compliance to SA 530 on audit sampling. I spoke about audit sampling recently. So, Reserve Bank of India is saying now LFAR also expects you to provide the samples selected, but all the samples you have chosen for the purpose of audit, it is necessary that you have it in your file, and against each you will have your remark. Please don't have any account in your file which you have no remark, or there are issues but not resolved, or there could be issues which you have written resolved with a blank but left like that in your documentation. Such mistakes will actually cause us a great trouble. So if you have resolved the matter, don't wipe it off. Write in front of that remarks how you have resolved that matter. That will tell your diligence, that will speak about your methodology and your perfection with respect to audit. Now, Reserve Bank of India is also examining whether they can ask for the working papers. Institute has been very strongly suggesting that no, working papers are our domain and they cannot be easily shared. But you never know. In NAFRA case now, we have no choice but to provide the documentation to them to, to let them check whether we have conducted the proper audit. So this is going to be a possibility, or this is rather today a possibility with central statutory auditors anyway, and it will flow down to branch auditors because ultimately they depend on the branch auditors. In case we are found not diligent enough in having our right working papers, we may unnecessarily cause trouble to ourselves and by at large to the profession. It will also cause some damage for Reserve Bank of India to think on whether there should be a branch audit, as uh, rightly mentioned by our committee vice chairman, wherein people have been, Reserve Bank of India has been uh, questioning this, and in fact, rather taking up these issues with the auditors to suggest that why it is not necessary. It's time for us to rise to this occasion and ensure that we actually keep the right working papers with us. Now, when we actually conduct the audit, there would be a lot of um, different types of samples that we'll be taking up. So, broadly, I would suggest any account 5 crores and above should generally be picked up because there are a lot of regulations that get attached to an account which is exposure of 5 crores and above. So if it is a 5 crore and above, stock audits are applicable. If it is 5 crore and above, acrylic reporting is applicable. So there are a lot of things that get attracted if the account is 5 crores and above, especially with regard to stock audits, for example. uh, I would suggest it is necessary that we list down all the accounts which are 5 crores and above and have complete study on whether all in respect of all stock audit is conducted. My experience tells me that you will find all kinds of observation wherein all stock audits are not conducted. If conducted, reports are not given. If reports are given, they are not reacted upon, or they are just lying. So there are a lot of things. And if there is a report available, and if we have not gone through that, and if it is established tomorrow that there was some adverse remark in that report which statutory auditor has not taken cognizance of, it's a big blot on us. Please, Reserve Bank of India conducted a review of top 20 frauds. Please see this second paragraph which I have mentioned here in respect of the 20 large value fraud. It really hurts me to read this line. Large value of fraud cases, except one case where external auditors pointed out a non-compliance with the credit sanction condition. I spoke about greater degree of skepticism in my earlier slide. It was this reason why Reserve Bank of India was saying greater degree of, and it is this reason why Reserve Bank of India is saying eliminate, eliminate if there is a fraud before you conclude that it's an administrative error. So, except in one case where the non-compliance to credit sanction conditions, there is no other case reviewed by the committee. Frauds were detected through audit process, external or internal. Imagine. So this is the observation of, and there is, I in my next slide, I have also covered why this has happened. I will cover that also. So in many cases, as auditors, I have seen we are happy to provide and downgrade them to NPA. अरे substandard करो, provide करो. We feel our job is done. We have done our job. But Reserve Bank of India is saying no, that's not the way. If borrower is classified as NPA, just NPA, and if it is turns out to be fraud, you know, there is a lot of time that will go between the two, within which the borrower gets lot of time to abscond or to completely siphon the money, which is not, then you can't arrest the problem. Most cases, complaints from customer and other sources were the major sources of fraud and not the audit. So Reserve Bank of India, you may be aware, came up with one circular in May 2015 on red flagged accounting. The red flag accounting circular is actually applicable to accounts which are 50 crore and above, wherein the circular lists down 45 different instances which are normally seen as administrative errors but have led to the larger fraud in the later years. My suggestion to all of you would be keep that circular with you, because even if it is not 50 crore and above, those instances will give you enough ammunition to even look at the accounts which are 5 crores and above, which will make your, you may not report that as a red flagged account because that's not the requirement, but that will give you a lot of insight, that gives you a clear direction on how you should be thinking, what it means by greater degree of skepticism is very evidently comes out when you read those 45 instances. So this red flag accounts, okay, so there is a learning, okay. Look, why this has happened: the delayed recognition and reporting of frauds. Why delay? We advance related to frauds often seasoned, they use the word seasoned, for 3 to 4 years as NPAs. After 3 to 4 years, you realize, oh, that was a fraud and not mere NPA. Time between the first bank and the last bank in consortium reporting fraud. One bank has reported, but another bank says it's a good account to me. If it is a 5 crore and above, CRILIC reporting is also mandated. You can call for the CRILIC reporting of that particular account. Bank will provide you that. It will tell you whether that particular account is operating with which all banks and what is their status in other banks. I have come across a situation where it is declared as a fraud in one bank but is a standard account in another bank. Now, such anomalies have also given a good amount of leverage to the borrowers who are willful defaulters. Ideally, within 6 months from the date of entity reports, the fraud, it should be reported as a fraud. So that is something which we should be looking at. So reluctance to conduct the meeting of the lenders. So there are several factors which have led to, not everything is about auditor, but finally, the auditor has to face the brunt. And therefore, it is necessary that we are extra diligent when it comes to actually working on our execution. So these are the concerns which regulator has been time and again talking about. So these are some of the early warning signals. Of those 45, I have listed some for our understanding here. These are the clauses the Reserve Bank of India has given under that RFA account May 15 circular. Critical issues highlighted in the stock audit report. Poor disclosure of materially adverse information. Frequent change in the scope of the project. Liabilities appearing in the ROC search report, but not annual report. Not routing sales through consortium member bank. I have come across one case wherein the audited balance sheet is that of a 400 crores, but the total turnover in the bank is only 200. Total turnover of funds. So you keep receiving such, you know, various signals from time to time. There could be rates, income tax rates, significant reduction in the stake of the promoters or pledging of shares. I've seen promoter resigns and says he would like the professionals to run the account, run the. He would like professional directors to take over the company. Such things are actually signals. And somewhere I came across one situation few years back in one of the bank wherein 80% of the purchases and 100% of the sales are to related party. And there are large payables, large receivables. Such things actually should rise our signals to see to it that eliminate the angle that there is no fraud here before you conclude that it's an administrative problem that requires reporting under LFAR. Because if it is a go well running account and the if well within 90 days, we won't mark them as NPA or we won't downgrade them. Obviously, and most of these fraud accounts, Reserve Bank of India has observed that they are directly from standard to fraud. They have not passed through these stages because of these issues. So these were broad RBI concerns from time to time. There are many, but for the given topic, I thought if I could highlight some of the important aspects, they were here. You must be aware, Institute keeps on relentlessly working on the bank audit. Every year, they come up with the guidance note on the bank audit. In my opinion, each one of us must have one copy, either soft copy or a printed copy while you are on the job. When you are hitting the branch with team members, one copy, either in soft or in physical, must be available because 99% of the questions that you may come across during the course of your audit would have addressed by those, because over the period it has matured in a beautiful manner. In addition to that, Institute has also provided us a window wherein you can ask the query and you get answer within 24 hours. So there is a lot that Institute is doing, enhance our professional ability, and we must take advantage thereof. One thing I would like to speak on here, and that is Institute has also come up with a publication on special purpose reports. It basically, all these years we have been issuing certificates, and generally a certificate, as we have been traditionally understanding, is true and correct. Even if 10 rupee mistake is there, certificate is not correct. That is the impression we have been given all this while, and we have been operating that way, and we are always subjected to some kind of a uh, pointing at us whether our certification is right, wrong. Institute is very clear. There is no concept called true and correct. Whatever a chartered accountant issues is a report, and a report is either a limited assurance or it is a reasonable assurance. We are not allowed to give anything beyond this. Our audit standards are very clear, either limited assurance or reasonable assurance. So audit is a reasonable assurance. Certification is a reasonable assurance. And therefore, these special purpose reports list down the format in which we should be issuing the certificates. Many times it so happens that the bank has the printed certificates and we simply stamp them because Reserve Bank of India or any other authority, excise, customs, wherever, they want it in these dotted lines. Institute is very clear. They say you should not do this. However, if you say that, the bank will not accept because there is a printed format. So, Institute has suggested that you should write officially that this is a reasonable assurance assignment and you will be issuing certificate in this manner where special purpose reports gives the format. Bank is obviously going to say no. Okay, if they take that no in writing and after you have done that, you are free to stamp on the dotted lines, but additionally also give them your audit report certificate and your UDIN should be there on that as well. Once you do that, we would be at least construed to be taken care of our job and we will not be held responsible for any misconduct or any kind of a negligence. So please don't sign on the dotted lines. You, along with that, also issue a report, which is a reasonable assurance report as suggested by Institute. So there are so many certificates we do. Imagine the kind of job we need to conduct when we are carrying out our branch audit. So besides that, if you are conducting tax audit, there is a guidance note on LFAR also, which Institute has come up with. If you are working for a public sector banks come out with their closing circular, which is a fabulous document. Each and every line item is explained and his specific instruction is given in that closing circular. Even if the junior most person is attending a audit, if he can read English properly, he will be able to conduct his audit performance. So they are so categorically each line item wise, each bank, public sector bank gives, and please take advantage of these aspects. These are the closing circulars. Okay. So with this limited time given to me, I thank all of you and I will be open for any questions at the end of the session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your insights. And very quickly, we'll move on to our next speaker, CA Giriraj Soni, sir, and he'll be sharing his experiences on special consideration in a CBS environment and major financial commands. Sir, now I give the session to you. You may please proceed.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I'm thankful to all the committee members for members in practice. And good afternoon to all my fellow colleagues who are listening online. So today's topic which has been given to me is special consideration, especially in case of CBS environment. So I thought that what I'm covering, this is the broad overview of what I'm going to cover. Broadly, I will just cover briefly about the CBS architecture, because when you know the architecture, then only you can do the proper audit. So I will not going so much in technical detail, but just for understanding and from audit point of view, we'll discuss few points. Then there are certain special consideration as the topic is special consideration. So whatever the thoughts or whatever the practical which things which we have done during the audit, and as per my view, these are the important points. So those points I will discuss. Then important commands. As you know that nowadays commands are available in Google also, so you can also search those commands. But few of the important commands which I personally feel are very useful tool for us to start. So those commands we'll discuss. And if time permits, then we'll discuss case study. Otherwise, we'll skip this. So typically, if you see the architecture of the CBS, so this is just a broad overview. This is not the exact architecture which will be available, but just a broad overview that what we are doing the audit. So we are doing audit sitting at the branch. So whatever transaction which are hitting, they are at one branch. So ideally you should know ki transaction kahan se aa rahe, from where the transactions are coming. So you can see in this diagram, there are various channels. For example, ATM, if you withdraw something, then the transaction will be captured. You do some transaction for UPI, then through mobile you are doing some transaction that is hitting to GL. So likewise, there are so many input channels which keeps on feeding the information, which keep hitting the ledgers, which we are doing the audit. Then at the core, if you see, there are report server, there are application server, there are database server. So these are the various things which are at centralized location. So we are doing one branch audit, which is somewhere in between some report server application. We don't. So this is just a broad overview. And if you see, I will put one note that there are certain other integrated applications also. So this is not the only thing, but beyond CBS, there are so many other applications, so many other software which are also interacting with the CBS, and the entries are automatically getting posted into the GL. Say example for interest application, interest is also debited. So I have highlighted some of the, you see, the applications. So there are GST application, there are RTGS application, then there are treasury related application. Then there are FAMS, fixed asset management solution, that may be integrated. So likewise, there are so many other applications. These are only few illustrative example. So the point which I wanted to make you is that whenever we are doing the audit, so we should be careful that how to do the sampling. So we are doing sampling or 100%. So as my earlier speaker Sandeep ji had told me that there are certain certificate which needs to be given. So when you are giving a certificate, you ensure that from where the data is coming, whether it is from CPS or from other application, then whether you want to test, if the scope of certificate say 100%, and if you are unable to verify, then ideally you should qualify, you should give suitable disclaimer in the certificate that due to this limitation, I am not being able to give 100%, or the data is verified on sample basis. So these are the things which you can report if you understand this architecture. Similarly, for example, there are certain aspect of KYC verification. So again, there are certain applications which are directly entering into the CBS, so that KYC application may not be there in the CBS. So if there is some point which says that, I think in LFAR also there is one point which says that what are the areas which are not related to CBS or which are not a part of CBS. So you need to be thoroughly aware what are the areas which are through CBS and what are the areas which are not there in the CBS. So almost all the areas are there, but whether it is from CBS or from some other application, that understanding you need to develop when you are interacting with the branch. Similarly, as I told you, there are certain UPI transactions. So we have come across certain issues where nowadays, if you see, there are a lot of transactions which are happening through UPI. So what happens? Immediately the branch people doesn't know, or immediately certainly some entry comes over there, because some other person is doing the reconciliation and he posts into the branch system. Now, immediately if the customer identity is not being identified, then obviously it will park in sundry or suspense. So when the reconciliation is done, then ultimately the amount is transferred to the ultimate beneficiary. So likewise, we observed that there are certain so many suspicious entries which are outstanding, especially in UPI transaction at branch level. So you need to take care of those transactions, whether they are properly accounted or not. So these are some of the ideas which I thought that you should know the broad architecture which will help you out, that what are the transactions which we need to focus when we are doing audit under CBS. So that architecture and discussion of various CBS that needs to be done when you are doing the planning level, or the first meeting when you are doing with the branch head or the concerned person. Now the second, these are the special point, special consideration. So when you are doing the audit, so what I feel that planning level, Sandeep ji has covered detail in the planning level. So I'm just touching about some of the aspect from CBS point of view. So you identify what are the audit areas as per the LFAR, as per the certificate requirement, and then you try to see whether you can cover 100% or you can cover sample basis. So that mandate has to be there, and you verify as per the appointment letter what is my requirement. Then try to identify what are the data entry points. For example, some of the things you make it ready-made report, but some of the things the branch people will prepare in the Excel sheet or some other Word or some PDF files, and then they will share with you. So you should have a clear understanding. Okay, this information will be available in CBS and this information is not available in the CBS. Now, again, if the challenge is that if some of the reports are available and some of the reports may not be available. Okay, when we are doing the audit, we had a prior experience that we have done, BOB we have done this audit. Here that report was available, but in Union Bank, this report is not available. So just check whether the required report is available or not available. Now, again, when I'm saying the reports are available or not, friends, you will be aware that CBS has got undergone a lot of changes over the period. So what has happened that initially, say, some of the reports were designed, but gradually the reports have been increased. Hello, am I audible?
Sir, you are audible.
Yeah, Giriraj, you're, yeah.
Hello.
Yes, you are audible, sir. You can continue.
Okay, available. Audible. Yeah, so I was discussing that there are certain reports which are available and certain reports which are not available. So the important thing is that we should do the reconciliation of the report which is available, because many a time we have found that they give certain reports. फिर हम check करते, we start verification, and then we give our conclusion. But subsequently we come to know, this report was not correct. There is some other report which is available, which is correct report. So accordingly, when you are taking a report or when you are checking the report, so it is important that you verify that the report is correct or not. So that's why it's very important that you match with some other data, or ideally when we are doing the audit, we just match with the GL, because ultimately GL is my final output. So when you are doing the branch audit, so first take the GL, whatever the final GL is there, and then cross verify the various reports which you are generating from the system or some other information. For example, balancing report. So if you are generating a balancing report from the CBS, ensure that the total balance at the end of the report is matching with my GL. For example, if you take balancing of all my CC loan account. So whatever CC loan accounts are there, the total of that all CC should match with the GL balance in the CC. So going ahead with the presentation, when we are doing the audit, especially branch audit, so our main focus generally, whenever we discuss with fellow colleagues, then they say that branch audit mein kya hai, advances ka audit karna hai. So it's not like that advances audit is there, but there are certain other aspects also which we need to commit. But some of the important areas which I highlighted from the advances point of view. So these are the few areas which I think all of us will be looking at the branch level. So operation in the CCs. So we need to check whether the operations in the CCs are correct or not. I got subsequent slide where I will explain you in detail about the operation in CC. Then access overrun. We are also checking the access overrun. So generally we take a report from the CBS and then we'll compare what is the outstanding and what is my closing balance. So friend, be aware that sometimes the branch people will pay the taxes because they know the auditors will come at the year end and they will verify, okay, total balance outstanding hai ki nahi. But when you are looking at the audit point of view, then you should also check excess overdraw not at closing balance level, but you should also check previous quarters or previous month level also. Because what happens most of the times, these accounts gets adjusted at year end. So you try to generate some other reports on different date, and then you try to compare whether there are any changes. Same is applicable to SMA2 also. Generally, what we do when we are doing the audit, so we ask for SMA2 data as on 31st March, obviously, and then we also take the SMA2 data as on 29th February or whatever the last month SMA data is there. So what happens when then we do the comparison and then we come to know, okay, this account was there in SMA2 in February. Why this has been gone out of SMA2 in the month of March? So there has to be some obvious reason. And then we take those accounts in our sampling and then we do a detailed review of those accounts. So this is how you should also plan wherever possible. Try to get the SMA2 data for 2 different dates and then do the comparison. Similarly, many times bills overdue. We generate bills overdue because there is a NPA criteria. Suppose bills are remains overdue for more than 90 days. So what happens? We have seen that in many a times, the data which is generated from the CBS. So data which is generated from CBS is dependent on certain information. Say example in bills overdue. So ideally, what is important for bills overdue point of view? When the bills has been discounted and what is the due date of that bill. Okay, so ideally, I don't know most of you have done bill discounting transaction or not, but in case of bill discounting, what happens? When I discount the bill, then there is a periodicity which is mentioned in the bill. So when it will be due? It will be due from 90 days from the LC drawn date, 90 days from the invoice date, 90 days from the date of receipt of the bill. So likewise, there can be various terms and conditions. Depend on that your due date will be fixed. So generally, you should check the due date, whether the due date entered in the system is correct or not. Because if my due date is not automatically calculated, or if there are certain errors while capturing the due date, then obviously my CBS report will be wrong. So these are the thing you should verify when you are doing audit in CBS environment. Then LC and BG development. So we try to see LC and BG development. There has to be comment on that. So you should check when the LC and BG was devolved. There are ready-made reports available because generally we only comment whatever the LC-BG devolved at outstanding as on date. But you should also check LC-BG devolved during the period also. So in many cases, we observed that some of the banks, they have got practice. Earlier, I don't know, earlier we have observed that wherever the LC or BG was devolved, so it was parked to a separate suspense account. Say example, XYZ is a client. So his BG was devolved. So instead of debiting to the client CC account, it is being debited to separate head. So what will happen when it is debited to separate head? Then obviously my CC will be regular. So my CC or term loan, whatever it may be, it will be regular. So it is very important that if the branch is doing such type of tactics, then you need to catch up and then you need to comment on that. Because there are practical issues in some of the cases where we have observed that the branch people have not correctly entered the LCBG due date, or the transactions are not routed through that particular account. So as far as the CC was concerned, I was just talking you that in CBS, we also need to check whether the operations in CCs are correct or not. So if you see the guidelines of the RBI circular, they say the account should be treated out of order if outstanding balance is continually in excess of the sanction limit DP for 90 days. So this is very much clear. We can verify. from the out of order also, from the excess overdrawn limit also. The challenge is when the outstanding is less than sanction limit or DP. So the circular clearly says, but no credit continuously for 90 days. Credits are not enough to cover the interest debited during the previous 90 days period. So past as well as present 90 days needs to be checked. And accordingly, as I told you that CBS, here the CBS will not help you out. There are no ready-made reports available. You have to go to the operations in the account and then you need to check whether the compliance to this circular is there or not. Then as far as the revenue checking is concerned, we need to verify interest on advances. We need to verify interest on deposit on sample basis. So there are ready-made product reports which are available. And then looking at those reports, you can check whether the interest calculation through system is happening properly or not. Because we have found that there are certain lacunas, there are certain areas, certain accounts where the interest has not been charged. So you need to check, especially at the year end, because some of the bank earlier there was one practice we have seen in one of the bank. What they were doing is they were charging interest on term loan on 30th March itself. So one day interest was not charged, or if that interest was charged, it was charged to a separate account instead of debiting to the particular loan account. So if the such type of practice is there, then you need to check and comment on that. Then review of sundry and suspense and long outstanding. We are commenting on sundry and suspense, but ideally not on the outstanding balance. We should also see the transactions which are happening in sundry and suspense during the audit period also. Especially large value item which has been cleared or which are debit and credit in the sundry and suspense. So you take GL of that particular sundry and suspense, and then try to see what are the transactions, large value transactions, which are getting settled over a period. For example, some entry is coming and then immediately that entry has gone. So why that entry is gone? Similarly, you should also try to see, as I told you in the beginning, that whatever balances or whatever the reports you are generating, as on last date of the year, for example, 31st March, you should also check the relevant balancing position before 1 month or 31st December. So at least you will come to know, okay, the branch people are making some adjustment at year end or not. LCBG balancing, I already explained to you that balancing report is very, very important. So whenever you are going to the branch, you ask for the balancing report. So there are various types of balancing report which are available. Here in the system, on the slide I have only shown LC and BG. But apart from LC and BG, there are various other types of balancing report which is readily available. Then transaction in NPA account. So we are checking NPA account. That's okay, fine. We are commenting. But generally we say NPA, so we don't see much in that account. Already that account has been classified NPA and 100% provision is made. Then we generally don't check. But you should try to check wherever the account which has been turned NPA during the period. So the circular says on account turning into NPA, bank should reverse the interest already charged and not collected by debiting P&L account and stop further application of interest. So the interest which is already charged but not collected. So those type of things we need to check, because we have found a certain lacunas where the entire interest which is not collected is not being reversed by the CBS. So you need to take care of those things where the interest is not reversed by the system automatically and further interest is not being charged. So apart from that interest, you should also check whether there are certain charges which are debited to NPA account. Ideally, if you should see that charges are also not getting debited once the account is classified as NPA. So how to test these cases? What we were doing is that we were taking the NPA balances, say example, on 31st December and NPA balances on 31st March. So ideally, you should compare the outstanding balance in NPA. So ideally, if there is some recovery, then obviously the NPA will get reduced. But suppose if there is increase in NPA, then you should check the reason why there is an increase in NPA account which is already classified as NPA account. So ideally, there should not be any increase in NPA. Then there are circular which says daily classification of NPA should take place. So all auditors need to check on any random date whether the NPA is report being generated and whether that report is correct or not. So you need to check and you need to verify, you need to comment on that particular aspect. Now, last point about special consideration is that changes in system, process and impact thereof. Suppose there are certain changes in bank, there are certain regulatory changes or there are certain process level changes, because nowadays banks are doing a lot of integration and there are a lot of activities which are happening in and around CBS. So if that is the thing, you need to check what are the impact of that particular changes. So ideally you can see the IT circular which is issued by the bank, because every bank has got their intranet. In their intranet, there are circulars which are given by each and every department. Especially you can check IT circular and then just you have a glance, okay, these are the IT related circular and what is the changes which is made during the audit period and what is the impact of that particular IT related circular. I am giving one simple example. In one of the case, we were doing the audit and then there was change in accounting policy related to recovery of the interest. So the RBI circular for accounting of interest says that in absence of clear agreement between bank and borrower for the purpose of appropriation of recovery in NPA, interest or principal, bank should adopt an accounting principle and exercise the right of appropriation of recovery in uniform and consistent manner. So during the year, there was a change in the accounting policy. So instead of adjusting first to a principal, it was first adjusted to interest. So if that is the thing, then you need to check whether impact is given in the system, because we have come across such a situation where we have found that the system, the changes in the system are most difficult to be attended. So circular तो आ जाता है, policy भी आ जाती है, कोई guideline भी आ जाता है, but implementation, CBS is so robust or so complex system that when you implement something, जैसे example, many time we have it, हम एलोपैथी की गोली खाते हैं, तो खाते कुछ करने के लिए होता कुछ और जाता है. So that is the same problem with the CBS also. You try to plug some loopholes in the system, you try to implement some system, and उसका impact कहाँ जाएगा, no one knows. So these are the challenges. So specifically, if you are doing audit and you know that there are certain changes, so at least during your audit plan or during your test checking, you should also check what is the impact and whether the changes are correctly carried out or not. Now, as far as the CPS is concerned, there are certain parameters. So there are certain configuration, operational related, interest related, charge related, authorization related. So when you are doing the audit, you should discuss with the branch people that what are the parameters which the branch people can change. And on random basis, on sample basis, you can check whether there are certain changes in the parameter. Even in exceptional report, there are certain reports which are coming. What are the changes in the parameter? So you can also check whether there are parameters related changes and what is the impact of that. Then quickly I will go to the command list because the time limit is very short. So I will cover whatever the important commands. So these are the command in the CBS. You can, there are various types of categories in the CBS. So as I told you that transaction check, CC. So transaction checks are very, very important. So if you want to check the transaction in very particular account, especially in CC account, so the option is HACLI or HACLI INQ. So this option is very, very relevant. You can buy hard this option, and then you should, whenever you are doing the branch audit, then at least ensure that you are able to view the ledger of any particular party. So that should be the first condition. So this you can note down, and then you should try to verify the transaction with this command. Then there is another option as HFTR financial transaction report. So it gives you the report based on selection criteria such as account ID, reference number, transaction ID, transaction type. So whatever information is available, you can generate with this report, and this will give you all the financial transactions. As far as CPS is concerned, there are two types of transaction. One is financial transaction and one is non-financial transaction. For example, if I am changing any interest related parameter, so obviously that will be a non-financial transaction. Then there are two types of limit. One is sanction limit and one is drawing power limit, DP limit. So with this option, HACLHM, account limit history maintenance. So with this option, you can check whenever there is a change in the sanction limit or whenever there is a change in DP limit. So ideally, when we are doing the audit, so we should understand that DP is to be changed periodically based on the stock statement which is submitted by the party. Now, suppose if the DP is not changed, if the DP is static, then obviously you have to comment and you have to verify why the DP is not, why the DP is static. Similarly, for the sanction limit, ideally the sanction limit should not change periodically. So if the sanction limit is being changed periodically, you can look into the limit history and then you can comment on that particular aspect why there is a change in between change in the sanction limit. So this is one of the screenshot which I thought that I will share with you, that DP calculation report in HACLM menu. So this is how the report will look like. And on the menu shortcut part, you have to type all the commands. The function is inquiry. So generally the auditor is being given ID to inquire at particular transaction. So you can say application from that and the DP, what is the DP, and whether it is active or non-active. So all this type of information will be available on the screen. Then one of the important point is whenever we are checking in the system is that loan repayment schedule, whether the repayment schedule entered in the system is correct or not. So HLRS RPSI loan repayment schedule, and another option is HLRSH. So that also you can use for verifying that whether the repayment schedule, specifically in case of term loan, whether the repayment schedule is correctly entered or not. Because in the CBS, the master data plays a very important role. If your master data is incorrect, then obviously output will be incorrect and it may result into audit risk where you may end up in wrong reporting. Then for interest verification, you can use this option HI and TTM, interest table master maintenance. Then in case of CC, we want to comment on the turnover, whether the turnover in the account is adequate or not. So these are the options: HATOR, account turnover report, HACTI, account turnover inquiry. And then you can check whether there is adequate turnover in that particular CC or in particular account. Then classification history. Suppose if you want to check whether there is any change in classification of any one particular account. So this is the option HSET, where you can say whether the account was standard, in which category, whether it was substandard, and when it was substandard, whether it is going to DB1 or not. So all these options, if you want to check, you can check with this particular option. Then NPA report, if you want to check, there is NPA report which is readily available in the system. You can check that report. Then HINTTM and HLAINTRPT, these are the various important reports where, as I told you, that if you want to check whether the interest charge in the system in the particular account is correct or not, you can use this option. Security maintenance, wherever there are security which is linked to any particular account, because in some of the cases we have found there are a lot of revenue leakages because of non-updation of the security properly. If you want to check, especially in NPA account, you need to check whether the security is adequate or not. So this option you can use SCLL, SCLM, which will allow you to check what are the security and whether the security value is correct or not. Similarly, for lien maintenance, if you want to check whether there are any lien account which is maintained properly or not, you can use this option. Then there's a certain command which are related to non-fund bills. So DCQRY or HGILR, you can check with LC and BG. So one sample format I thought that I would share with you. This is BG outstanding report, HGILR. You can see this is the option. So wherever you see any star mark is there, so those information is mandatory. So you should note down when you are first interacting with the branch. You should go through the various menus which are available, and you should also ask what are the important field which needs to be captured. So those things you should take care, and you should test whether all the reports, all the menus which are which you want to check whether those menus are available or not, available in the system or not. Because each and every CBS has got different type of functionality. So some of the accounts, some of the function which is there in one system may not be available in another system. So I think I've taken enough time, so time is short, so I will not cover the case studies. So if any question is still to be asked, then obviously you can ask at the end of the session. So thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for your insights, sir. Now, very quickly, we'll take the questions after the session. There is a small demo which we need to give for the practice management software. So I request Mr. Parvez Suri to take the documentation part of our practice management software, which is for the chartered accountants, for the members in practice, which is free of cost from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. This is listed in our cmpbenefits.ici.org website. So members can visit and they can register for the said software. So Parvez ji, from our tech team is ready to give his demo. Parvez ji, you can take the demo now.
Yeah, sir. Thank you very much, sir. And good evening and good Friday to all of you. And thank you so much to all of you for giving me the opportunity to demonstrate the document management module of the practice management software. I also welcome to all the members to this wonderful session of bank audit. Myself, Parvez Surani from the PMS technical team. We have already seen that when we are auditing of the bank, we have to prepare so many reports and documents, and the management of this document is very important. And to manage the documents easily, the ICI has launched the practice management software for CA practitioner and CA firms free of cost. In our previous session, we covered the registration process for the practice management software and explore the client management module of the practice management software. So in today's session, I will demonstrate the document management module of the practice management software. So let me share my screen first. Okay, so my screen is visible.
Parvez. Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. So here we logged into the PMS demo application to demonstrate the document management module of the practice management software. So here I will log in as an administrator credentials. So in the PMS, ICAI has integrated the resources of the ICI and the Center for Audit Quality. So when you click on the help desk button on the top of the right side, so you will see the option to move on to the ICAI resources as well as the Center for Audit Quality. So when we click on Center for Audit Quality, we will move on to the Center for Audit Quality page. So from here, you can download the utility for bank branch audit from here, and you can also view the demo of utility for the bank branch audit from here. So this is the Center for Audit Quality we have also integrated into the PMS. So in the PMS application, through the document management module, you can manage your office paperless. All your documents will be stored on the cloud server with the latest security and encryption protocol. And you can also track and manage all your offices inward and outward through document management. And you can make available any document for your client easily through the document management of the practice management software. So let me quickly check one by one all the option of the document management system of the PMS. So here we have first option, document name master. So when we click on document name master, from here you can add the number of documents which you generally received from your clients. Like permanent account number, bank statement, digital signature, address proof, GST number, TAN number, whatever document, audit report, uh, company registration document. So all the document name you can add from here. This is the master page, so you have to add only once. Then the second option is file location master. So from here you can add the locations of your office to manage the physical copies or physical documents of your clients, like your cupboard 1, cupboard 2, cupboard 3, or rack 1, rack 2, rack 3. So where you put your client's files or your client's documents, so that all the locations of your office you can add from here. The next option is file label master. So from here you can create or generate the file number or file labels for your clients, to where you can put your client's documents, or you can also add the existing documents of your, sorry, existing file number or file labels of your clients which you have already created at your office, and you can manage your documents, physical documents, also easily to PMS. The next option is inward facility. So through inward, you can track and manage all inwards come into the office. So by clicking on new inward, you can add the inward over here, or you can add inward of your clients, or for office purpose or for any other person. So here you can mention the inward via through which channel you received the inward, like through telephone fax or through letter courier, through email, through any personal, and for which client you have received the inward. So all the detail you have to fill, and then you have to click on save button. So you can also send the notification of inward to your client, like your inward has been received to our office and these documents we have received in this inward. So your client has surety like his documents is received to the office. And if you want to see the list of inward, then here the inward list option is available. So from here you can see the list of inward which you have already created. And the filter option is also available. So if you want to see any specific clients inward, then you can filter the data as per your requirement. You can also view the documents which is received in this inward by clicking on plus sign. And you can also edit this inward if you have required any editing in this inward. You can also take the printout of this inward, like if you want to give the printout of your to your client for this inward, then you can also take the printout from over here. You can also delete inward if you have rights to delete. And you can also export this data into the Excel format by clicking on export to Excel button. The next option is outward. So you can also track and manage all the outwards uh, goes from the office. So by clicking on outward, you can see the outward page. So you have to select to whom you outward the documents, like to client or to departments or to your employee or to any other person. By way means through which channel you outward your document to your client or in department, like through telephone fax, letter courier, personal, through email or SMS. You can also mention the description related to outward, and you can save to it. You can also uh, send the notification to concerned person related to outward. So if the person not received this outward, then they can contact to you, like I have not received this specific inward, or sorry, outward. And if you want to see the list of outward, then here the outward list option is available. So from here you can see the list of outwards. Here also the filter option is available. So as per your requirement, you can filter the data, and you can also take the printout of this outward, and you can also download this data into the Excel format. So outward list is also available. Then the multiple outward option is available. So if you want to send bulk notification to your client, then you can use the multiple outward option, and you can select the number of clients to whom you want to send the notification. So after that, you can select the email subject description. And if you want to attach any document, then you can attach, and then you can send notification by one click to your bulk clients. And you can also see the list of multiple outwards you have sent to your clients. Then the add document manually option is there. So from here, you can add the documents manually. So when you don't need to verify the documents, at that time you can use the add document manually option. So this document is directly saved into the database. No any inward generated for this document, and no any verification process is required for this document. So if you want to save the previous year's documents into the PMS, then you can use this facility, and you can directly add the documents. Then the all documents option is available. So if you want to see the all documents which you have received from your client, so you can click onto the all documents. Here we have given so many filters, so you can use it as per your requirement. Like if you want to see any specific client's document, then you can filter this on client. If you want to see the returnable documents of your clients, then you can also filter this document returnable. So you will get the list of returnable document which you have to return to the client. And if you have returned this document, then you can also see the detail, like we have already written this document to the client and via this outward ID. So you can manage all your returnable document easily over here. And if and you have uploaded the soft copy into the system, then you can easily download this soft copy from here. So this is the all document page you can access from here. Then the document tracking facility is also available. So you can track document into the PMS. So first is track doc master. So from here you can set the number of documents which you have required to do this tax audit task. So from here you can define the master for specific task. We need this much of document to do this task. So this is the master page. After that, you can set this document for your client's specific task. So from here you can select the client and select the task for that client, and you can set this tracking facility for this client's task. And at specific time you can check the status of the document, like you have already received document or document is in pending stage. So you can track easily from over here. So you can also send the notification for pending document to your client by one click easily from over here. So you can manage the document tracking system of client's task. So this is all uh, about the document management of the practice management software. So you can easily manage your soft copy as well as hard copy of document of your clients through the practice management software. So I trust that now you have a clear understanding of how PMS document management can help you to manage document hard copy as well as soft copy through practice management software. So thank you, and over to you, Priyanshu sir.
Thank you, Parvez for sharing your demo. Now I request, so there are some queries from the members. So one by one, I'll be taking up the queries, and accordingly, then we'll conclude, sir. Sandeep, sir, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah, sir. So there is one query. Can you list 5 documents mandatorily required to be maintained under the planning phase of audit?
Yeah.
Can you list at least some documents which you can list which are mandatorily required to be maintained under the planning phase of audit?
Yeah. So should I say or should I show? How do you?
It's up to you, sir.
So basically, there are at least 10 to 12 documents, okay, like independence confirmation,
Mhm.
engagement letter, your team budget and names of your team members, KYC on your auditee, materiality, then fraud risk responses, minutes of the kickoff meeting, communication of audit schedule, and then additionally, you know, communication with those charged with the governance. So these are some of the mandatory documents. Unless if you don't have this, it will not be construed to be that you have conducted the audit.
Okay, sir. So now the second question is with for Giriraj, sir. So what are the important master data to be checked during the bank branch audit?
Yes, as I discussed in my session, that master data plays a very important role when we are doing audit, especially in CBS environment. So some of the data, master data, which I would suggest that as an auditor we should check is that rate of interest. Whatever the rate of interest which is fed in the system, whether that is correct or not.
Mhm.
Then your repayment schedule. In your repayment schedule, you should check what is my EMI start date, what is my EMI end date, and what is my moratorium period, whether it's the same has been entered correctly in the system. Then one of the important para is security value. So as I discussed in my slide that your provisioning depend on the security value. So if the security value moves here and there, then my provisioning will change. So accordingly, you should check that security value. And then one of the requirement which RBI says is priority sector classification. As we have seen that there is a requirement, there is a report which is going to RBI about priority sector classification. So many times the branch people are in hurry and they don't give proper flag of that particular account, and according to the report is not generated properly. So wrong information is submitted to RBI. So that's why it's important that you select the priority sector flag, and then as an auditor we need to check on test check basis whether priority sector has been properly marked in the system.
Okay.
So these are some of the examples. Likewise, there can be many.
So Sandeep sir, next one is for you. List at least some of the warning signals under the RFA.
So warning signals could be your critical issues highlighted in the stock audit report. It could be poor disclosure or inadequate disclosure on the RTPs, that is related party transaction. There could be a situation where there is not sufficient transactions in the account. Although the account every time only the interest is being submitted, deposited, but there are no transactions. very less transactions. That could be one of the signal. There could be a situation where some account is blocked by income tax or GST people. There is a possibility. There could be a situation where the financial audited reports are not submitted by the company. So there are such signals which need a further detailed understanding before we conclude that it's an administrative problem.
You are muted. Priyanshu ji, your voice
Priyanshu,
is
you are
not.
muted.
You are muted.
Priyanshu, you are muted.
Okay. Next is for Giriraj sir. What is to be checked for the sundry and the suspense account?
Yeah, I discussed some of the points during my presentation.
Yes,
But
yes.
some of the important points I would again highlight that
Mhm.
during in CBS there are lot of intermediary accounts. So there are some transitional accounts which are being created, which are only for temporary purpose. There has to be debit and there has to be credit. So at the end of the day, those accounts should be nil. So you try to identify what are the such transitory suspense account or sundry account, and then you try to see whether at the end of the day or periodically the balance is nil, because there will not be any long pending outstanding, but there will be outstanding. So those cases needs to be checked. And again, sundry and suspense, very important part is that you try to understand what is the nature of that particular sundry and suspense. And depending on that nature, there has to be, as auditor, we can conclude there has to be either debit balance or there has to be either credit balance. Suppose there is receivable, then there has to be debit balance. So look from that point of view, try to see whether there is a negative balance in a particular sundry and suspense. So those things you need to specially check. For example, in case margin collection, so margin is collected, obviously there has to be credit balance. But if you observe at the end of the day or at the end of the reporting period, there is a debit balance. So you obviously need to investigate what is the reason for that. So these are the things which you can check.
Okay, sir. So Sandeep sir, next one for you. Sir, when is CRILC reporting by banks is mandatory?
So CRILC reporting
Mhm.
basically mandates that the moment account goes into SMA 0,
Okay.
it should be reported. So there could be many cases where the account goes to SMA 01, again comes back, SMA 01 again comes back. And if the reporting is not done, there is a possibility that that account is already NPA somewhere else. Now, if the CRILC reporting is not done timely, there could be a possibility of us missing those points. So we should ensure that the moment account is slipped into SMA category, we should test check one or two whether they are reported.
Okay. So Giriraj sir, whether HO balances to be reconciled and checking is to be done at branch level?
Generally, in case of CPS, there as I discussed under a certain suspense account. So HO balance is also one of such account where transactions are keep on hitting. So there might be debit or there might be credit balance in HO related account. So those type of account generally these are not at branch level. So the reconciliation and everything is done at central office level. So you should inquire at the branch level whether how the reconciliation is made. But most of the cases it is at centralized level. So there might be huge balances in this particular sum of the accounts.
Okay. Sandeep sir, what is the certificate is a form of what report?
So, like I mentioned in my presentation, certificate is a matter of reasonable assurance. Our
Okay.
members should again know that there are only two types of reports a chartered accountant can issue: a reasonable report and a limited report. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Alternatively, there are AUPs and all, that is different, but this is a reasonable assurance.
Okay. Okay. Now, sir, Giriraj sir, what needs to be checked for Basel returns during the branch audit?
Yeah, some of the returns, some of the banks they are requirement is there that you need to verify certain aspects which are related to Basel II. Risk weight related statements are also need to be signed. So wherever such statement needs to be signed, either as a statutory auditor or as a concurrent auditor, because some of the branches the data is also taken from concurrent auditor. So in those cases, you need to check some of the important points. A few points is that related to say you can check the rating because my risk will depend on the rating. So rating document you can ask. Then in case of there is a classification as regulatory retail portfolio. So whenever you are checking the classification under regulatory retail portfolio, then you need to check whether the turnover which has been maintained in the master data, which is updated in the system, is correct or not. I'm not talking about the debit credit in the account. I'm talking the actual turnover. So whatever turnover as per the audited balance sheet, that needs to be fed in the system. So these are the external input data which needs to be verified.
Sandeep sir, one question is, when is NAFRA fraud reporting mandatory?
Basically, any single fraud
Mm-hmm.
which is, if you cite 1 crore and above.
Mm-hmm.
So if there are some 3-4 frauds amounting to say to 1.5 crore,
Mm-hmm.
that need not be reported. Single fraud above on or above 1 crore needs to be directly reported.
Okay.
I would suggest in such cases,
Mm-hmm.
you please also notify your central statutory auditors.
Okay. Giriraj sir, during audit, if there is change in NPA provision and not in NPA amount, what auditor should do?
Yeah, most of the time we get certain queries, whether in such cases whether MOC needs to be issued or not, because ultimately if you see, you should understand the logic. Generally, the provisioning is not done at branch level. Provisioning is done at centralized level. But suppose there is no change in the NPA, but due to security value, there is some increase or decrease in the provision. So ideally, in all such cases, I would suggest that you refer to the bank guideline and you report through proper MOC, because there are 3 or different type of MOCs which are generally given by the branches. So you report under appropriate head. The amount of NPA will remain same. Only thing you need to mention what is the provisioning. So here and there the provision, what was the earlier provision and what is the required provision. Only that you can mention, but this will not have any impact or financial as far as the branch is concerned.
Okay. Okay, sir. So these are only the questions which we have received. So, sir, thanks a lot for this sharing your insights on this webinar on bank audit and documentation through practice management software. So I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to each one of you, for our viewers also, for the participation and engagement through this enlightening session. First
So
and
how many
foremost,
participants are there?
so there are around more than 2,000 participants. They are viewing this webinar today, and first and foremost, I would like to express our deepest appreciation to our chairman and vice chairman, sir, CA Rohit Ruwatia ji and CA Umesh Sharma ji, and our esteemed speakers, CA Sandeep Willing sir and CA Giriraj Soni sir. Just on a call, they agreed my invitation, and then they took this webinar, and their contribution. Sir, your expertise and insights and practical wisdom has truly enriched our understanding of complexities and nuisance in complexities involved in bank branch audits. Your willingness to share your knowledge and experience is commendable and has undoubtedly inspired all of us. I would also like to extend thanks to Parvez ji for taking the demo and joining us with us today. Uh, and you've always been actively participating in our webinars. And last but not the least, I would like to express our gratitude to our ICA leadership for their unwavering support and encouragement in giving this opportunity to us to organize this webinar. So I thank you, everybody. As we conclude for this webinar, let us carry forward the knowledge, insights, and connection gained today into our professional endeavors. So thank you once again, sir, everyone who contributed in making this webinar a memorable and enriching experience. So looking forward to welcoming you to our future events also. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.